the fundamental five. So I work in one-on-one. I am blessed to work with men literally like a professional athlete, a professional musician, a CEO, right? And there's a section in my program called the Fundamental Five, and it's really revolutionary. It's really groundbreaking, and it's going to shock you, and it's going to change the way you think of recovery, self-help, being successful. No, it's not going to do any of those things. It's the fucking ridiculously most obvious things that you can think of. The fundamental five is eating well, sleeping well, hydrating well, exercising, and practicing mindfulness. We're going to talk about all five of those things in this stream. So we get to this point in the program, right? So I'm working with this successful triathlete, and we get to the section, and I'm teaching the fundamental five. And every time before I teach the fundamental five, I say to myself, really? Like, people pay all this money, and you're talking about eating well, sleeping well, hydrating, exercising, and practicing mindfulness. It always, almost 90% of the time, I feel in good conscience I can say that, 90% of the time, those fundamental five and the discussion of them and where they're lacking and what's missing from that, and is that self-care rooted in self-love, even if they're a triathlete, there was self-care, but it wasn't rooted in self-love. In fact, what was driving that performance was self-deprecation and shame and feelings about not being good enough. So the self-care, outside looking in, was tight, but it was a disaster on the inside. Not self-care rooted in self-love. So great question. Those are definitely